Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, is this it for the price of Bitcoin? Are we potentially now ending the short-term bullish divergence, or are we still playing out this oversold signal on this Bitcoin price chart? So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which is now bouncing between both support and resistance in the shorter term, while the price of XRP is doing something similar, trying to play out this bullish divergence, but now running into some major resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and this super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend. So over the last one day, this has not really changed all that much. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously we still have this massive bearish divergence, which is technically still active on the weekly time frame, because at least for now, we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to actually invalidate the bearish divergence. And so once again, as I've been saying every day for over a month now, since almost all-time highs right here, like I've been saying since then, do not expect a significant amount of bullish momentum anytime soon, and instead what is much more likely is a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum for the price of Bitcoin, which means at best maybe some sideways price action here and there, but most likely a bit more of a pullback coming soon. And obviously over the last 1 month, that has already been playing out as predicted, and this could likely continue moving forward over the coming months, for example. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, the price of Bitcoin is still currently bouncing and holding on to this area of support here, sitting at approximately 85,000, give or take. So still expect a lot of support at give or take 85,000. And as for resistance, if we continue this further bounce here, like I've been saying recently, expect potentially some resistance at give or take 88,000, which we have just started to struggle a little bit at around 88,000. But if we see a further breakout beyond that point, in that situation, the next important area of resistance, the next price target to watch out for, is in between around 92 to 94,000. And if we're staying on the daily Bitcoin price chart, but taking a look at the RSI, obviously we could see that over the last few days, we already hit oversold in the daily Bitcoin RSI with that latest drop off just around half a week ago, give or take. And of course, what came next was just a slight bullish move over the last few days as predicted. And now, technically speaking, we have now reset the RSI out of oversold, but with that being said, at least for now, we've only slightly reset it out of oversold. We're still very close to oversold, which means if we see even the slightest little pullback here, we could quickly dip back into oversold in the daily Bitcoin RSI again, which would be another oversold signal telling us to expect a bit of a relief in the short term. So overall, considering the fact that we're still extremely close to oversold, it is quite likely that this oversold signal will continue to play out a little longer here in the shorter term, in the coming days, maybe over the next week, that sort of time frame, based on this last oversold signal that confirmed around 9 months ago. But as I've also been mentioning over the last few days, not only do we have this oversold signal on the daily Bitcoin RSI, if we're zooming all the way out to the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we also recently hit oversold in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI for the first time in not just 9 months, the first time in over 3 years. The last time we saw an oversold signal in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI was around mid-2022. And what came next after these previous oversold signals in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI was either a sideways consolidation, so choppy sideways price action, or just a slight bullish relief, not necessarily confirming the end of that larger bearish trend, but at least a bit of a bullish relief or a break from all of the bearish price action is quite likely from an oversold signal. And considering this is on the 3-day time frame, obviously this plays out over a longer period of time than just the daily time frame or a smaller time frame. And so considering this information, the 3-day Bitcoin RSI hitting oversold, it is quite likely that this oversold signal will continue to play out in the coming days, possibly over the next 1 or 2 weeks, that sort of time frame. And if we're taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI, obviously we already formed and confirmed a bullish divergence a few days ago. As I've been saying every day since back here, I've been saying expect just a slight bullish relief as a very likely scenario, and since then that's exactly what has played out as predicted. And this could likely continue, mainly due to the reason that we of course hit oversold on the 3-day Bitcoin RSI alongside the daily RSI. And so basically, if we're looking at the bullish divergence by itself, itself and not any other information, then I would not rely on the bullish divergence for too much longer, maybe another couple of days here, considering it's only on the 6-hour time frame. But once again, considering the oversold signal, not just on the daily time frame, but the 3-day time frame, it's likely that this relief in the short term could continue to play out maybe over the next 1 or 2 weeks, that sort of time frame, rather than just a couple of days. But obviously, it's important to understand that the price does not move in a straight line, so it's not going to be a straight line like this. In fact, it's quite likely, and we have already seen throughout the relief, short-term little pullbacks like this, but overall, we are still within a relief or a slight bullish move during the bearish trend, ultimately having a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action with the occasional red candle here and there. Once again, it's not going to be a straight line towards the upside. And remember, it is possible that here and there we could form a little bit of a sideways consolidation. So the price might not necessarily just go straight up like this. We might play out a bit of choppy sideways price action and then maybe continue a little bit more of a relief like this. Overall, that's the sort of price action that I expect in the shorter term in the coming days, maybe over the next 1 or 2 weeks. But overall, if we're talking about the next month or couple of months, zooming out on the larger time frames, we're not in the clear yet. We still have these major warning signals to watch out for on the much larger time frames. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can still see a lot of liquidity building above the price of Bitcoin at roughly around 97,000. So 97K is still a major price target to watch out for the price of Bitcoin, which is sitting roughly around here on the price chart, which would also likely act as resistance based on this point of resistance right here at just under 97,000. But once again, as I've also been saying recently here on the channel, before we can even hit that liquidity at roughly 97,000, we have resistance we need to pay attention to, especially in between around 92 to 94,000, where the price could possibly struggle at or reject from. And so overall, those are my expectations in the shorter term for the price of Bitcoin. And of course, the bigger picture, not really changing all that much over the last 1 day, and the key levels to watch out for and the key signals to watch out for that are currently influencing the price of Bitcoin on these different time frames. And of course, if you want to take advantage of this move that's already starting to play out in the price of Bitcoin, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below this video in the description or in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to this page right here over on Pinex, where you can take advantage of some massive deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. And so if you simply make an account using that link below the video to Pinex and then deposit as little as $100, you get a $200 deposit bonus. If you deposit $1,000, you get a $600 deposit bonus. If you deposit these much larger amounts, you can get up to 40,000 USDT in deposit bonuses. This is basically money from the exchange, which they go ahead and deposit into your account alongside your deposit. And then if you want to, you could go ahead to use the deposit bonus, use the exchange's money in order to actually take one of these Bitcoin trades here if you want to. And so obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link below the video to take advantage of this opportunity right here. And once again, as you can see right here, this event unfortunately is only available if you're using the link below the video. It is exclusive for invited users, as you can see on the page in the link below the video. So unfortunately, if you don't use the link, you can't claim any of these bonuses here, so you might as well do that. But if you want a no KYC exchange and an exchange that currently has loss protections against certain losses or liquidations right now for your trades, then definitely check out the second link below this video. That second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment will take you to this page right here over on 2bit, where you can also take advantage of some major bonuses. And so as you can see right here, if you're a new user that's making your account for the first time using the link below the video to 2bit, you can get up to a 100% loss protection on your first futures trade, up to 200 USDT in trial funds. So basically, if you lose 200 USDT on your first trade using the link below the video, you can actually get that back from 2bit if it's during this event that's running right now. And on top of that, of course, there's also other liquidation recovery funds right here. So as you can see right here, if you get liquidated during this event over 50 USDT, you can get compensation potentially up to 1,000 USDT based on your liquidation. And so once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well check this out. Second link below the video. And also, if you use that link, you can get extra deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. And once again, in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and right now the Bitcoin dominance is actually continuing this pullback a little bit further, which is helping a lot of the altcoin market in the short term. And so yes, even though over the last couple of days I did mention we could maybe see just a sideways consolidation, a short-term break from all of this bearish price action right here in the Bitcoin dominance, it seems that obviously right now we're ultimately continuing the pullback in the Bitcoin dominance, which for now is a sign of weakness for the Bitcoin dominance, which once again is good news for the altcoin market. So for as long as this is happening here in the short term, expect some decent bullish moves, or at least some relief for the altcoin market. Not necessarily a massive high momentum altcoin season or anything like that, but do expect at least some short-term bullish moves for altcoins, if of course Bitcoin is holding up relatively well while the Bitcoin dominance continues to pull back here. Once again, good news for altcoins. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, we can see that right now a lot of the funding rates for the most part have almost reset back towards neutral. They are still slightly below neutral, which is slightly more bullish than bearish, but with that being said, they are now very close to neutral, which means the short squeeze for Bitcoin has already pretty much played out. Obviously, we already wiped out a decent amount of shorts over the last half a week, over the last few days, with obviously that bullish move helping to push the price a little higher over the last few days from these lows. And so like I already explained, over the last few days, I did expect just a short-term bullish move, playing out a very small short squeeze in the short term. But like I made clear in my last video, don't expect a massive short squeeze towards all-time highs or anything like that, because we have to remember that on the larger timeframes for the price of Bitcoin and other crypto assets, we're still not looking too good, obviously. But if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is kind of just bouncing around relatively sideways within a sideways price range between support and resistance, at least for now. Obviously, we still have a lot of support at around 26.20, which is pretty much exactly where the price bounced from. So especially in between 2.6k to 2.7k, that's still a strong area of support to watch out for. And as for resistance, watch out for 3,000 to 3.1k. That area right there on the price chart still currently acting as major resistance. And for now, the price is struggling around that area, but of course still bouncing from this point of support. So for now, we're just basically bouncing between support and resistance. But if the price can ultimately break out above ideally 3.1k with a candle close above that level and actually holding above that area, in that situation, the next immediate target to watch out for would be sitting at around 3250 to almost 3.3k based on this previous low, potentially acting as a bit of resistance here. And if we continue further past that point, in that situation, expect a lot of resistance in between 3.6k to 3.7k. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, technically speaking, we're still playing out that oversold signal in the daily Ethereum RSI. So like I already said, since all the way back down here, we're most likely going to see a slight bullish move over the next few days, maybe over the next 1 or 2 weeks. And since I've been saying that since back down here, we've already started to play that out exactly as predicted, and will likely continue to play out in the coming days here. And so in other words, get prepared for another retest, very likely going to happen, retesting this area of resistance in between 3,000 to 3.1k. That's the immediate target to watch out for, which will likely happen very, very soon. But remember, that's still a point of resistance to watch out for, which means as the price retests that area, we're likely going to struggle around that area. So keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now the price of Solana, it's actually a similar situation for Solana as what I just said for Ethereum. Technically, the larger trend is still currently bearish, but in the shorter term, bouncing between support and resistance. So right now, this support is still sitting at roughly around 124, especially in between around 124 to 126, give or take, as a strong area of support to watch out for. And as for resistance, expect a lot of resistance in between around 143 to 147. And of course, we're also playing out an almost oversold signal in the 2-day Solana RSI, but especially on smaller time frames, we already hit oversold in the RSI, which is yet another signal telling us we're likely going to see just a shorter term bullish relief, or at worst, maybe a sideways consolidation, basically a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action in the shorter term over the coming days. So this is very likely going to continue to play out, at least for now, in the next few days here. And it's possible that soon we could retest this resistance again, once again at around 143 to 147. Expect a retest potentially very soon of that area, but considering that is still an area of resistance, it's likely the price could struggle or possibly reject from around that area. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, of course, we still have that massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which has not gone away. We've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence. And so overall, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day on this chart right here, which means this is still a massive warning signal to watch out for on the larger time frames. Remember, it's not a short-term signal. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term here on the daily time frame, what is a short-term signal that is now playing out is of course this new bullish divergence, which has already been confirmed with a new lower low confirmed in place in the price in the candle closes, and of course a new higher low in the RSI being confirmed compared to this previous low in the RSI. And of course, as I said in my last video, this is already now confirmed with the higher low in the bounce confirming in the RSI, which means expect just a slight bullish relief, maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there, but overall a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action is quite likely moving forward in the coming days, maybe even over the next couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks. But as for support and resistance to watch out for, now that we've already confirmed the breakout back above $2.05, expect a decent amount of support around there, and of course a lot of support at around $1.80. And as for resistance to watch out for, we almost just perfectly rejected from my exact resistance right here, sitting at around $2.30. We got within about 1 cent of $2.30 before we just started to struggle and see a very short-term rejection from very close to $2.30. So still expect a lot of resistance around $2.30 to $2.40. And if we break out above that area in that situation, the next target to watch out for is in between roughly $2.60 to $2.70. And so overall, those are my expectations in the shorter term. The bullish divergence still playing out, but watch out for points of resistance where the price could possibly struggle or reject from. And if we're taking a look at Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink, besides the fact that we don't really have a bullish divergence, but what we do have is of course an oversold signal playing out in the daily Chainlink RSI, which is kind of similar to a bullish divergence to some degree. It does mean basically the same sort of thing, just a slight bullish relief moving forward as a very likely scenario, resetting the RSI out of oversold, which has already started to play out over the last half a week exactly as predicted. But remember, as we're playing out this short-term bullish move, don't forget that at least for now, we've not yet fully confirmed the end of the larger bearish trend. So of course we can see short-term bullish moves during the larger bearish trend before potentially heading lower at some point later on. Keep that in mind. But just in the short term for the coming days, maybe the next week, we are still looking okay here, okay to continue to play out this oversold signal, especially if Bitcoin and other major altcoins play out the short-term bullish relief. That will likely help Chainlink and other altcoins like this. But once again, we have to be aware of points of support and resistance along the way, especially resistance as we're playing out this bullish move. Pay attention to points of resistance where the price could possibly struggle at or reject from. And the immediate resistance to watch out for is based on this Fibonacci level just here, which was previous support for a short amount of time previously, and that's sitting at roughly around $13.30 to $13.40. So expect potentially some resistance and some struggle around there. But if we see a continued breakout past that point, especially if we hold above that level, in that situation, the next major target would be sitting at close to $15, especially around $14.70 based on these lows. It's possible we could find some resistance around there, but especially in between around $15.20 to $15.70 as likely a major area of resistance. But overall, the price of Chainlink and a lot of these altcoins here will likely play out something similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin continues a bit more of a relief kind of like this over the coming days, over the next week, expect something similar for Chainlink and a lot of these altcoins, especially if the Bitcoin dominance continues this pullback pullback, once again, that means altcoins are actually doing a little bit better on average compared to Bitcoin. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.